Hello, my amazing Algebra Half students. This is Mrs. A, and I love math. Today, we're doing lesson 68 in our blue books, and it's all about proportions with mixed numbers. And this one is going to be a very, very short lesson because you have one example, and then you get to do a couple practices, and we're done. So this is not a new concept. We know that when we have a proportion, which is a fraction set equal to a fraction, that we can solve that by cross multiplication. The only thing we're doing different here is adjusting our mixed numbers to be improper fractions before we do the cross multiplication. So instead of, these are all okay, but instead of 2 1/5, we will change that to an improper fraction, which would be 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1 is 11. So instead of 2 1/5, we will make that, let's need another marker. We'll make that 11/5, okay? And then instead of 1 3/4, we'll make that 1 times 4 is 4 plus 3 is 7. So we'll make that 7/4. Okay, and then we will cross multiply. So I have 4/9 times, I'm going across here, times 7/4. So 4/9 times 7/4 equals, and now I'm going to go the other way. So 11/5 times x, or 11/5 x. Okay, now before I do anything, I'm going to go ahead and simplify this a little bit. So my 4 on the top and my 4 on the bottom will cancel. And I will get that 11/5x is, let's just do this, 7/9, because all of this becomes 7/9. So now we know that to get rid of this, I need to get my x by itself. So I'm going to get rid of this by multiplying by its reciprocal. But I must do that on both sides. So now I have x by itself because that cancels. And over here, my answer, nothing is going to cancel, is it? 5, 7, 11, 9. Nothing cancels out of that. So I'm going to wind up with 35/99. So x is 35/99. And there's your work. And that is the correct answer. I looked in the book. I peeked. And now we're going to do some practices. And here we have our practice problem. So copy it down. You have two practice problems to do. So I want you to do them both. But then after you do them, you can come back and see if you did it right. So copy it down and pause your video. Okay, so hopefully you did that. Now we're going to multiply this way and then this way. It really doesn't matter. We could do this one first and then this one. Doesn't matter at all. So we're going to do this one and get 1 3/4 x. And we're going to go across the other way and get 2/3 times 5 1/4. Now, I have not yet changed to improper fractions. So before I try to do anything else, I'm going to go ahead and change to improper fractions. Okay, so 1 3/4 is 1 times 4 is 4 plus 3 is 7. So 7/4 x equals 2/3 times, and then that's going to be 21/4. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead, and before I simplify, I'm going to go ahead and get this taken care of. 4/7, just to show you that there's different ways to do it. So we've already taken care of this, so we have x equals all of that. Multiplying by the reciprocal, we'll get rid of the 7/4. So now let's have a heyday. Let's cancel. And we have all kinds of canceling here. We've got a 21 and a 7, which will cancel with a 3 and a 1. We've got a 4 and a 4, which will go out completely. Then we've got a 3 on the top and a 3 on the bottom. Oh my, this is fun. And so now, what do I have left? Okay, that's a 1. Now that's a 1. That's a 2. That's a 1 and a 1 and a 1. So the answer is 2. Okay, now we're going to check it. Let's see if 2 is the right answer. So let's put in a 2 right here. Okay, and when we divide, we're going to make this right here a 7/4. And 7/4 divided by 2/3 is 7/4 times 3/2. Okay, and 7/4 times 3/2 would be 21/8. Okay, so we have 21/8. And then on the bottom here, over here on the right, we have 21/4, and then divided by 2 is the same thing as 21/4 times 1/2, which gives us 21/8 again. So we get 21/8 on the left and the right, and so the answer is 2, not 21/8. 21/8 was our check. We got that on both the left and the right, but 2 was our answer. Did you get it right? Let's go try practice number 2 and last. All right, so here is our last practice. What a short lesson. Okay, so 3 1/4 would be the same thing as 12, 13, 13/4 divided by P, and then equals 2 1/6 is 12, 13, 6 divided by 3 times 10 is 32 tenths. Okay, so we got everything into improper form on our fractions. Instead of mixed numbers, we have improper fractions. So now we're going to multiply, and I'm going to go this way first just because that will put my P on the left. So I'm going to have P times 13/6 equals, and then I'm going to go this way and get 13/4 and 32 tenths. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our multiplying by the reciprocal, which means that I'm going to multiply both sides by 6/13, excuse me. So what we're going to have is, I'm going to go ahead because I'm out of room. Let me just check this. That's right, and that's right. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. Okay, so we're going to put this into a better form. We're going to multiply on both sides by 6/13. So we have a P 13/6 times a 6/13 equals a 13/4 times a 13/2, 10, times a 6/13 on that one. Oh, that's nice because our 13s are going to cancel. Okay, so I had this, and then I multiplied by 6/13. I had this, and I multiplied by 6/13 on the right. Okay, so now these are going to go out, and I end up with P equals. So let's see what's going to go out nicely here. We have, let's see if I can get a different color just to make the canceling work better. We have a 13 and a 13 that are going to completely cancel with a 1 and a 1. We have a 4 and a 32, which will cancel with a 1 and an 8. And we have a 10 and a 6, which will cancel with a 5 and a 3, just taking 2 out. Okay, so now on the bottom, I only have a 5. On the top, I have a 24. So 24/5 should be our final answer. But let's check. Okay, let's come over here, and instead of the P, let's put 24/5 as our final answer. And let's check. Okay, so I have our 24/5 in the place of the P. And now I wanted to clear the board so that we could see the check a little better. So this is going to be 12 plus 1 is 13 over 4 divided by 24 over 5. And on the other side, we have 13 over 6 divided by 32 over 10. So now we're just going to see if they're equal. So this 13 over 4 divided by 24 over 5 is the same as times 5 over 24. And then on the other side, we have 13 over 6 divided by 32 over 10, which will make times 10 over 32. Okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead and just simplify each side. Is there anything that's going to cancel on this side? I've got 13 and 5 on the top, and that's not going to go into anything. What about on the other side? Is anything going to cancel? What if I took a 2 out of this and made it a 3, and took a 2 out of this one and made it a 5? Okay, so, look at that. I have 13 times 5 on the top, and I have 13 times 5 on the bottom. Now, the big question is 4 times 24 the same thing as 3 times 32? Let's see. Sometimes it's easier and faster if we factor instead of multiply. So what I mean by that is this. On the bottom, on the left, I have a 4 times, and then I'm going to write 24 as a 3 times an 8. Okay? Now over here, I'm going to write the 3, and then I'm going to write the 32 as a 4 times an 8. Do I have the same factors on each side? So I was able to tell that those numbers were exactly the same without multiplying them together. It's easier. It's faster. So 13 times 5, 13 times 5, that's 65. But we didn't have to multiply it. 438, 348. We checked our problem. And the answer is indeed 24/5. And we have had some fun and learned how to do proportions with mixed numbers. And we're done with lesson 69. I think. Is that 69 or 68? That's lesson 68. I have that wrong. Lesson 68. And this is Mrs. A. And may God bless your day.